This year, we've been marking the 30th anniversary of Section 28, the last piece of anti-LGBT legislation introduced in this country. This year also marks the 15th year of its repeal, one of a very large number of important pieces of legislation introduced by the last Labour government. In the space of 13 years, our community fundamentally changed. Through those legislative changes, that government helped change attitudes towards sexuality and gender and laid the foundations for the Conservative Liberal Democrat coalition to legislate for same-sex marriage. For that reason, I'm really delighted to present the next awards, which is the Lifetime Achievement Awards. We have former Prime Minister Tony Blair.
Thank you. It's very kind of you. 30 years ago. Incredible to think that Section 28 defined the climate of that era in debating gay issues. And if there was one benign consequence that came out of the horror of that legislation, is it galvanized. Shortly after that, Stonewall was formed, and the whole campaign for equality and justice got renewed vigor and determination. And then in 1997, there was a new government. New times, a new zeitgeist, and suddenly the curtains were thrown open, and into the dark corners of prejudice, the light was shone. Then the legislation followed: equalization of the age of consent, ending the ban of LGBT personnel in our armed forces, civil partnerships, of course, ending discrimination against LGBT couples for immigration purposes, then adoption. And then, anyway, you know all that and all those issues, and of course the repeal of Section 28. But the greatest achievement was not simply in passing laws or in changing the political landscape. It was changing the cultural landscape. Laws can bestow rights, but laws can't ordain acceptance. And yet today, I think the proudest thing when I look back is that our politics across all main political parties is united, our country pretty much united, both in appreciation of the LGBT community and in appreciation of the fact that being LGBT is not against nature, but a part of nature. And the two reflections I have on that time are these. First, that the walls of discrimination tumble more easily than sometimes we think. Sometimes we're afraid of taking measures that we think are going to be immensely controversial and meet with extraordinary resistance. And yet in the end, if you present people with a rational case, believe it or not, most of the time, promised I wouldn't talk about that tonight, but most of the time they listen, and they did hear. But my second reflection is about the way that progress comes, because it comes through political action, of course, but the politics is always more effective if it's buttressed by a genuine popular campaign. And that's what Stonewall waged. They met prejudice with reason, bigotry with explanation, hatred with resolution, old thinking with new persuasion. They reached out and over and across every ditch of politics and public opinion and brought people on side. And in the manner of their campaign, not just the fact of it or the justice of it, the manner of it, they liberated the nation's mind and won its heart. So there are many new challenges, Many things still to do, but I think tonight it's worth celebrating where we were, where we are, and celebrating the contribution of those who made the difference. So, with that, with the passing of age, I therefore have the great honor to present the PinkNews Lifetime Achievement Award to the founders of Stonewall. So, okay, So we're about to present the award. I just want, before we do so, we want to honor two of those who are sadly no longer with us, Peter Ashman and Dr. Peter Rivas. Those who were not able to be in the room tonight, Deborah Ballard, Dorian Jabry, Sirian McKellen, Pam St. Clement. And finally, of course, those who are with us here this evening, Matthew Paris, Duncan Campbell, Olivette Cole-Wilson, Lisa Power, Simon Fanshawe, Michael Cashman, Fiona Cunningham-Reid, Jenny Wilson. Please join me in thanking them and welcoming them for the Lifetime Achievements Award.
Yes, thank you. I think you want your glasses back.
Ooh, thank you.
On behalf of all of us who founded Stonewall, and also those who haven't been named who were around and who had to stay silent for a variety of reasons, I'd like to say thank you very much to Ben and Kai and everybody else from PinkNews for doing this tonight. It's incredible. I'd like to say thank you to you, Tony, and to all of the politicians who are here tonight and those who aren't here, who helped Stonewall along the way. And there have been many of you from many different parties, and we are grateful for your support in the work from the start right up until now. And it was 30 years ago, and it really was 30 years ago, because Duncan brought a piece of paper today that showed that it was 30 years ago yesterday that after a rather boozy lunch at Ian McKellen's house, some of the men sat down and wrote out a manifesto basically saying, this is it, we've had enough, we need to do something new, we need to start something that can't fall over. But I've got to tell you, when we started it, we had no idea how we would be here at this point 30 years later. We had some ideas, we had dreams, but many, many people have helped us along the way. And all of you, thank you very much. And thank you to all of the people who've worked for Stonewall, volunteered for Stonewall, been on the board of Stonewall all over those 30 years. You've created something unique in LGBT activism across this globe. It's one of the strongest movements in any country, and it's all down to all of you, as well as us lucky people who get up to say, I was a founder. Thank you very much.
Well done.